Hello, MotoAmerica fans. Welcome to this latest edition of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. We are joined today by our 2024 Junior Cup champion. And if you can't tell by all the number ones behind him, he was definitely number one. Let's see, 9 podiums out of 12, seven wins. And the year before, you only raced 2 rounds for us. So it's like, and one of them was Pittsburgh, your favorite track that we didn't go to last year.
Yeah,
So that's so welcome on, Matthew. It's good to talk to you. And just regardless of what that crazy Irishman in New York would tell me, I'm not calling you Maddie. I don't
yeah,
care.
no.
Yeah, Colin Barton can, yeah, whatever. So
We'll call him
um
Collie.
Collie. Yeah, I mean nobody calls him that. So but let me just say, so Matthew, you're just out of class today, but you must be a senior this year, right?
I'm a junior.
Oh, you're only a junior.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you got another year after this, but your racing is stepping up a notch this year. After winning that championship, essentially your first full year in Moto America, you're moving up to Twins Cup on a Suzuki GSX-R 8R on a team that is very solid, the Vance and Hines team, and you've got Hayden Gillum and Rocco Landers as your teammates. So, man, you jumped right into a great, awesome opportunity this year, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I'm super pumped. I just like looking back from a year from now, like I would have never saw this coming. Just like from doing club racing every weekend, doing 2 pro races in one season, my first year on the 400, and then the year after that to be winning the championship and then going to Vance and Hines. It's crazy.
I told him, Sean, how fortunate he is, and the fact that he may not even know how fortunate he is because the team, I mean, you could be on a factory team and that's the next level down, and it's barely the next level down because they run such a good program over there. So you mentioned before that you have ridden the bike and you tested?
Yeah, so we tested at Homestead. I think it was either 2 or 3 weekends ago, and it went really well. The bike suits me really well. I love the twin. And
Is that is that a place you've raced at before?
well, so I did one track day before this at Homestead on my 400 right before the Junior Cup season last year, so this is my second time there.
How do you like that track, Matthew? Because we had a round there years ago, and it's a little tricky. In fact, it rained, and I remember Josh Hayes saying, if you go down and on that grass in the rain, you go end up sliding faster than you started out. It's pretty slick, isn't it? If you get off
It's
that
yeah,
surface.
it's pretty slick, and then there's like concrete patches on the insides of every corners, and those are pretty sketchy because like right when your rear or front hits it, you can really feel the asphalt change. And it's like right when you get on the gas and you touch that concrete, you can feel it like just pop out a little bit. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty tricky. Yeah, I mean, Mid Ohio was like that before they repaved it. There was some concrete patches, and you're exactly right. The height between the concrete and the asphalt, there was an edge there that you'd either fall off of or something kind of. So that's not easy. Did that? Well, of course, Mid Ohio was repaved, but was that your first time at Mid Ohio?
No, actually it wasn't. So like 2 weekends before that, I did the Weira races there for the I think it was the vintage days. Yeah, it was the vintage days.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I did those races there. And I think I did like 3 or 4 races, and then like we had a whole track day. So I definitely had to like a step up on my opponents going into that round.
and
So
and
the,
it's good. It's a tricky track. Honestly, it's pretty. Wouldn't you say it's kind of a tough one?
It's super technical, but I like that though, because then it allows for a chance to break the pack up a little bit.
That's right.
when we talked earlier in the off season, you hadn't ridden the bike. You told me you'd gotten some offers that were mostly Twins Cup offers. Was Terry one of those offers then, or had he not come into the party yet?
Yeah, he was one of those offers then.
Okay. All right. Was it a pretty easy decision? You don't have to tell us who the other guys were, but was it an easy decision?
Uh, at first it wasn't, and then it kind of became an easy decision after a little bit of the negotiations and stuff like that.
Now, my other question in regards to the ride coming up in this year is that Rocco's exact bike or is it a new version?
No, so
Hmm.
the bike I just rode at Homestead, that was Rocco's B bike, which had never been ridden last season at all. So it was like a brand new bike. And then I think they're building me like my A bike for the season.
Nice.
Yeah, no, not to put you on the spot, because this is a little bit technical. I'm not real sure of it either, but I think they made a couple changes in that Suzuki for this year that gave it a little bit more or something.
Yeah,
And so have you ridden the bike with those changes yet?
yeah, I did. They
Okay.
allowed us to open up the air box. So
Okay.
that's what it was. And I rode it like that. Honestly, like when you're on the bike, you don't really notice any difference from like what it was with the closed air box versus open. But I'm sure like when I'm like riding with all the other twins, I'll definitely notice it. Cause I remember at Coda last year when I did my wild card, it was like, I mean, I'd go on the straightaway behind the Aprilias and I'd still get like two bike lengths pulled on me. And I'm like, I was probably the lightest rider in the class.
Mm, yeah. So, I know it's a different perspective for you, but from us, and I think you're probably going to say it's fair for us to say this. You came out of nowhere. I
Yeah.
mean, you're a kid from Maryland that we didn't know, and I didn't honestly remember the two rounds in 2003 that you rode. And you had some decent results there as well. But then this year, I mean, just to come on gangbusters, was it what you expected to do? Was it more than you expected to do? Where do you feel? And I know you have high expectations. I get that, but
Yeah, no. So I would say that like I mean honestly my goal like right when we were at Road Atlanta was a top 10 finish. And no, I did not expect to win the race and it really shocked me.
It was funny because Sean, I know you'll remember, and we talked about this earlier, but when he won that race in the dry, and I don't know how much smaller you were, but you seem like you're a lot bigger than you were then.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
a couple inches maybe.
and also, and then I remember we asked the top three if they were looking forward to probably having a rain race the next day. And he about shook his head off saying no. And the other two said, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And then you were right. I think you got seventh or eighth or something in that
yeah.
first one.
It was, I'm pretty sure it was like seventh, yeah.
But I think you told me that you didn't have much experience in the rain, but you got better because there were some wet sessions at least going through the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean going into that round, I rode in the rain at the New Jersey MotoAmerica round, which that was like a river basically. That wasn't even like normal rain riding. That was just crazy. And then maybe like one or two club races were in the rain, but like that was pretty much it. So I didn't really know what to expect. So I was just like, just keep it dry.
And he didn't.
so yeah. So you rode a Ninja 400 the previous year for a couple rounds. I'm sure you rode it at some venues prior to that. So you had pretty good knowledge of the bike and what it could do. But this past year in Junior Cup, tell us about what that's like. It seems to be sometimes luck. I mean, luck of the draw, although it's pretty hard to say it's lucky when you won as many races as you did last year. I wouldn't chalk that up to luck. However, you do have to be in the right place at the right time. So it takes some skill to be in that group. And I never know whether you ought to be leading or what the plan is. Did you understand your strategy every race you raced in?
Yeah, so like before the races, just depending on how long that front straight is, I'd sit down with my dad and we'd talk about it and I'd figure out where I want to be coming onto the straight. So it's like Road Atlanta, I wanted to be in the back of the pack because I knew if six of us get behind each other, I'm gonna get slingshotted all the way to the front because there's enough time. Versus like let's say mid Ohio where there's no front straightaway, I wanted to lead like off everywhere at that track.
Mm. So quite different for a class that it just seems like you got to be kind of in that group to figure things out. But timing is a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I mean, my season was pretty much based off of timing, honestly. Like the first couple of rounds, it was just like drafting to the line, those types of things. Cause I mean, so in 2022, I raced Talent Cup, and that's kind of where I learned the North American Talent Cup. And that's kind of where I learned like what drafting even was. Cause I didn't know what it was at all. That was my first year on the big track. And I mean, I remember you'd be in like 10th place, and all of a sudden you get slingshotted up to like fourth at that. And then I knew so when I was club racing my 400, a few of the Moto America guys, they would come out and ride at the club rounds. And I just remember like learning what the draft was, and my dad was like, explaining it to me. It was just a lot to learn. And then I don't know, it kind of just turned into, I mean, after a little bit of being on small bikes, you kind of figure out where you want to be, like depending on the track.
No, go ahead, Paul.
With the bigger bike coming up next year, obviously, are you kind of looking forward to because the Junior Cup is such a crapshoot, right? And you
Yeah.
obviously were good at it. You won 6 of the last 8 races and ended up winning the championship by 81 points or something. But are you looking forward to like racing a bike where maybe there's not 10 guys who can go the same speed, that there's only 2 or 3?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I can't wait. I mean, just like I mean, it's very stressful when there's like 12 riders in one pack and you're banging handlebars in the corners and down the straight and stuff. So I think this year, I mean, honestly, I feel like before this season, I always called myself more of a technical rider. I like tight technical tracks. So I think being on this big bike and less of a drafting opportunity, I think that it's, I mean, I'm hoping it goes well, but I think that this bike's going to suit me a little bit more.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because one of the contenders last year who unfortunately didn't win the championship was Rocco. And, Rocco, I'm sure, knowing Rocco, I'm sure Rocco's a friend of yours. You guys probably have talked a bunch in the past. It's probably going to be nice to have him on that team to help you out with some stuff, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So at Homestead, he was there on the bagger. And he was just a great mentor overall. I mean, he was just, like maybe from like where you are in the corners, it's more of a point and shoot bike versus the 400. You try and get in and out as fast as you can. So I think that was like one of the biggest things. But like overall, I mean, he's a great mentor. It's like I tell him like sometimes it's like good to talk to him about what's going on with the bike because he actually rode the bike. So he understands it a little bit better than maybe like some of the crew, like depending on the problems, obviously. But like I don't know. I think it's definitely really good having him on the team because like overall, I mean, I think he's just gonna help me out with a lot of my issues on the bike and riding and stuff like that.
Well, you definitely make Sean and I feel old when you call Rocco Landers a mentor. Because we just think of him as being 14 years old,
Yeah, but I mean, look at what the pattern that he's had in his career. I'm sure you're going to hope that you get a career like that. I mean, the kid's won a lot of stuff and knows what he's doing, has a lot of talent on the bike. So let's talk about Homestead or where you've ridden that bike. What, I'm not going to ask you to give anything away, but if you can, what are there any things that you feel you need to work on with that bike? Are there any things you instantly felt like it was way better than Junior Cup and I can't wait to get on it? Is it acceleration? Is it out of the corner? I mean, tell us about your first reactions to the bike.
Yeah, no. So I would say that I mean the hardest part for me was kind of just like getting the power down because like when you're going from 50 horsepower to 100, it's a big difference. So it was kind of just the power, and then it's also I mean a big part of it was fixing my lines because that was really my biggest problem. But we definitely still need to work on some suspension settings because it definitely wasn't quite there. But I will say I like the way that the bike feels like under the brakes and everything and in the corners versus the 400 because the frame's not flexing and all
right?
that.
Twisting itself up.
Yeah.
And you notice that. You know what that's about. So you totally get what this Talent Cup thing's all about with the Kramer bike and how it's going to be a lot stiffer and adjustable and all that. We knew based on you winning the championship and you had said you were looking towards Twins Cup. We didn't think you were going to end up in Talent Cup. Was it an option for you at all?
Well, not really because I didn't get any offers to do it. But if we did get the offer, we were gonna do it. It
Okay.
was just one of those things. If it happens, it happens. If not, it doesn't.
I tried to
Okay.
talk Terry into getting one, but he didn't listen to me.
Well, I mean, obviously his relationship with Suzuki, it's pretty cool. And now that you got Rocco on a GSX-R 1000, it's two Suzukis under that tent. That's pretty cool. And he's got such a legacy with Suzuki way back in Superbike, but even recently with his drag stuff. So that's cool. I mean, that you've got that connection. I'm sure that's a big part of how that whole deal went together, right? Did you have any offers without telling us that we're on non-Suzukis in Twins Cup?
I mean a few, but they weren't any of like the top offers like money wise that time.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Um,
sorry,
yeah.
my main
No,
offers were they were all from like Suzuki teams.
okay. That's cool. Yeah, I mean it's a great bike, and I mean it's kind of obviously it's the beginning of its development cycle. Even this past year, what that team did with that bike, I'm sure you know Steve on that team.
Mhm.
My gosh, he did some magical things with that bike and he used to kind of humbly say it's all Rocco riding it, but I know I know he helped out as much as he could with giving Rocco what he needed, and I'm sure that's going to continue with this year.
Yeah. I mean, at Homestead, he was there wrenching on my bike. And I mean, I don't think he took any time off. I mean, every time I'd look over, he's fixing something, changing something. So, I mean, he's definitely a really, really hard worker when it comes to, being a mechanic and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think he's just a great asset to the team, and he's a really cool guy too.
When you showed up at that test, did they basically have Rocco settings on there, or
Uh, for the most part, I'm pretty sure because the bike was sprung very stiff at first.
and is
So
that something that you think would he like it stiffer than you?
yeah, I also weigh only 120 pounds, so I like
Yeah.
the
It's amazing. So amazing. It's so cool. That's why, I mean, it's so funny with you because you're older than you actually appear. I mean, I know you know that. Everybody says that. I'm sure that's the case in school too, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you're
no,
probably one of the smaller kids. Yeah.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
that's so cool. But do you play lacrosse? Do you still play it?
I don't think I am this year. I
Okay.
don't have the time because last year I played JV for the whole season, and then I got pulled up to varsity, and we had a MotoAmerica. I think we had Brainerd at the weekend. I had playoff game, and I told the coach I wasn't going to be able to make it because I was racing and at Brainerd, and he kicked me off the team because I missed it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it'll work this year.
Yeah, he probably knows you might have to skip out.
What was he actually kind of angry with you that you made that decision?
I mean, it kind of seemed like it, honestly. It was like one of those things where he like said congrats on a great season. It was like a really backhanded thing. He was like, okay, well then you don't need to come back anymore or something like that. And he's like, congrats on a great season. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Did he know how good I mean, that you were gonna, well, at that point you hadn't won the championship, I get, but did he know that you were really good as
I
a
don't think
racer?
no, I don't think. I don't really tell people. I
He
don't know.
said he said there's only one teacher that knows about you because he rides motocross or something, right?
Yeah, he races motocross, so he knew who I was, and I actually got him a Vance and Hines hat because he really wanted one.
Oh,
That's
that's
funny.
so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I would imagine. I mean, you haven't even done like, I don't know, show and tell or something where you've talked about it.
He keeps
Mm-mm.
it quiet.
I
Yeah,
love
the
it.
principal the principal called me to his office a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "How do you want to tell everyone in the school that you race?" I was like, I really don't. I don't know."
Come on, you got to tell him we want them all to come to our races to watch you, Matthew.
Just tell him you only want the girls to know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So your dad, Phil, your dad is you had mentioned before we came on that some of the ones behind you are his. Is that him over your right shoulder? Number, is it 11
Yeah,
there?
yeah, these are all him. No, that's number 43 actually.
Oh, I couldn't see it close
Like,
enough.
yeah,
He had Jason Pridmore's number then.
yeah.
Is he a fan of Jason's?
I mean, pretty much, I think so. I don't know.
Every,
I never really asked him how he got the number. I think that was just kind of been his number, but I mean,
okay.
he knew Jason before I did. So
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also funny because your dad probably knows what Terry Vance is all about.
yeah,
Where if you didn't, if he wasn't in the paddock here, you would have no idea, right?
yeah. No, I don't think I'd know.
And how about, is your dad going to be involved on the team this year? Is he going to have a place on the team, or is it now kind of a factory supported team? Dad takes a back seat.
So, I mean, I know they kind of said that he kind of takes the back seat, but then it was also one of those things where they might need somebody to do like maybe a pit board or, get wheels somewhere or something like that. So, I mean, if they need help like that, he's going to help out, but like he's pretty much in the back seat now,
Yeah.
like mechanic wise and, actually being inside of the pit.
Yeah, you get to the point as a parent where the coach or the mechanic or crew chief know more than you that can help your kid, so you kind of gotta like let it go. It's not
Yeah.
easy to do, but
Yeah, no, it's definitely also one of those things that I think he's actually pretty happy it's like this because I mean last year he was always wrenching on the bike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's he's just happy he gets to sit aside and actually watch the races now.
yeah, it'll be fun for him.
Yep.
It's funny. Last year, I mean, there was a bit of a gauntlet to get to you. I don't even know if you're aware of this, but I mean, I had your dad's contact information long before I had yours. And I finally think I asked your dad for it, but it was like, I didn't know if I should. And I realized, oh, he's older than I thought he was. So maybe it's okay to do it. And that's why at Coda, I think, is when I came. Was it Coda where I came over and sat
Yeah, it
with
was
you and met
Coda.
your mom? Okay, yeah, and I kind of wanted you guys to know, okay, I'm okay to talk to about this kind of stuff. So now we have your number and everything else, so it's all good, which will be good for this year because we'll be talking to you a lot more, I'm sure. So, I bet. Well, you're gonna start right off at Daytona, so right off the bat, you're gonna. Have you raced at Daytona?
Yeah, I did the Race of Champions this year in October with CCS and Azra.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. You were down there. In fact,
Yeah.
I think were you on a Team Hammer bike?
Yep.
I thought
I was on the Team Hammer twin.
that's right. And didn't you also race that at Barber, or am I wrong?
No,
Okay.
I just did Coda on that.
Okay. I know that they went to Barber with something, but I wasn't sure how that went. And also one of the things you did back last year was this Intercontinental Games, which was quite an experience in a lot of ways. I mean, it was a kind of an incredible thing to watch you guys and to try to figure out, like, I didn't quite get it, you know? I mean, you had a guy like Clinton Sellers who raced a long time ago. He was racing in the United States back in, I think it was 2010 or 11. I mean, he's kind of an old man. I know he got hurt. I think he got hurt and didn't race there, which would make sense. But I don't know if you even met him or knew who he was. But
Yeah,
you were racing against a lot of guys that were pretty talented.
yeah, no, I my dad told me a little bit about him because he knew who he was. I actually at first I thought that he was one of the kids' parents. I didn't know he was riding. Yeah, and then he walked over with his leathers on. I was like, wait a minute.
Dad gets to ride.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I hope he
And
doesn't listen to this show.
and those were R7s. And same bikes that like Mallory Dobbs rode in that series, and that Sonia Lloyd's going to race this year, and actually did that last round. I mean, how did you like the bike? Can you compare it at all to the Suzuki? I mean, it wasn't like you were back to back riding on them. Did they feel similar in any way?
Well, I was actually in the 300 class
Oh,
on the
you're right.
R3.
You're
Yeah,
right. I'm sorry. That's right, Matthew.
yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I was on an R3.
that's right.
They're really different than a 400, like really different, just the way they feel. But we got an R3 that I rode at like 2 track days, just like in preparation for it. So
Hmm.
honestly, like it wasn't like too big of a difference, but it was like, I mean, I remember the whole weekend, my transmission was just in and out of gear the whole time. Like I'd be going down the back straight to grab 3 shifts, and it's like, like making all like the
Yeah,
clanking sounds and like
yeah.
neutraling and stuff like that.
It's not very
I'm
confidence inspiring.
No.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised on that R3 that they haven't. I mean, it hasn't moved up to a 400 class bike yet. And I guess, well, it's a spec series for that, the Cup. So it's obviously you're against all the other bikes. And are they all identically prepared? Did you had your own mechanics and it wasn't your dad working on it, or is that right?
Yeah, we had so the American team, we actually had BSB mechanics.
Hmm.
And I think every team had their own mechanics. And then I know like you like some of the parents had an option if they wanted to be a mechanic. And I know that John was helping Avery a little bit over there. He was his mechanic. And then um I just had a BSB guy helping out. And then I think my dad was doing like tire pressures and just like simple things like that just to help out around
Hmm.
the tent.
Going into that race and battling, like Sean said, there was a bunch of fast guys there. Did you find it like initially at least like really intimidating?
Uh I think going into it, I was pretty confident. And then I know like right when I got on track, I think it was Mahendra, who was the World Super Sport 300 champion.
Yes.
By me on the brakes one time, I was like, my goodness. Like he came by like in a stoppie that he landed it, backed it in on his knee. I was like, like geez.
You're like,
Like
I want to go home.
yeah, like I mean, it really like made me realize how much I still have to go.
Yeah, but it also shows it's possible, right?
Yep.
What was it like? So, what was it like with you? Did you know Max Toth at all? Had you met him before?
No, we had never met before that.
Okay, what was it like with him?
I mean, he was really cool. We introduced each other, and then, I think it was like just because I mean, like when you go over there with a group of guys that like or like that are from like North America, it's like I mean, we were all like brothers over there, so we all we're all together all the time, like helping each other out with whatever we can, just like talking about the track, stuff like that. But he was I mean, he was super helpful to me, especially because he has all that overseas experience. I mean, he also rode the track too before that weekend. So
Yes.
I mean, he was a big help, like when it comes down to that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I think he had a round right before that in his own series. So he went
Yeah.
and I think he ended up coming there maybe a day or two late just because he had to go from one track to another, but jumped into it. And obviously you had Avery on the team and Michaela and a lot of those. Well, then you had Mallory Dobbs and Andrew Lee. You had some older riders, but also some that you know pretty well. So that had to be super fun for you guys to be all kind of walking around. I loved the photos of you guys walking on the track. That was super. That was very cool. And
Yeah.
and we had Blake Davis on, and we picked on him a little bit about you know why.
About the boots.
Did you wear yours?
No, I did not have mine on. I cannot walk that whole track in boots.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised he must have gotten blisters. He had to have.
I somehow I don't think he did. I I'm
maybe he
not
had like
sure.
4 pairs of socks or something.
Something like that. I know. I mean, we got up to like turn one, and I look over at him, and I like noticed something like weird about his ankles and feet, and I like look down and I like look at his boots. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like he's like, I'm breaking them in. I'm like, oh,
Didn't he have his gloves on too?
I'm pretty sure he had his gloves on too. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good kid.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he's an awesome kid, and I mean he has a lot of experience in that too. So it's cool that you had all those guys. But um, do you think I wonder if you'll do it again
I,
next year?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Be
Did you
cool.
have to apply for it?
I don't believe so.
No,
No.
I
Okay.
think I think Bill Cumbo just kind of put together a list and started asking people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got asked. I think I got asked like right before or right after Brainerd. It was.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then of course it was a bummer that Rocco was going to do it, but he had gotten himself hurt, and Andrew Lee jumped into there, so that was a different situation. Did you know Andrew at all?
No, I'd
Okay.
never talked to Andrew before that.
Yeah. Um, it's cool that it was a mix like that, though. You had a lot of different, and he's had international experience as well as, and I think had Mallory been on that track before?
Yeah, because
Okay.
of the women's world championship, they had like just been there a couple weekends before, maybe a month before or so.
Yeah, and for her, not for you, the point I was trying to make earlier, for her, she was on basically the bike she raced, probably not the same one, but a bike that was the same as what she rode. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. It's cool that Yamaha does that though, that it's all the R7s and all the R3s. It gives you a nice chance to see what everybody is up against. So that's cool. So Maryland is where you're from. Do you know Michaela Moore very well?
Yeah,
Okay.
know their
Are you
family pretty well because I grew up doing minis with them a little bit, and then also like I see them. We have a go-kart track here called like United Karting, and it's like right by BWI Airport. And I remember like I saw them there a few times, and then it was like I actually met them at Summit Point the first time a couple years ago. So yeah, we're my dad and her dad are pretty close.
Yeah, and they have a shop, right?
Yeah, they have. I'm pretty sure they own like a some sort of shop where they
It's a
repair bikes.
service repair shop, yeah. What so talk to me a little bit about school. I know it's not a great subject, but I mean, I'm not against anybody that homeschools by any means, but you've obviously made the choice to stick it out and finish high school. Is that something that you've always planned on doing? Is that something your parents push for?
I mean, I think it kind of came down to my choice. They were like, it was more of like if I want to go homeschool or stay in school. And I had so many friends in school. It was just like I had no reason not to. I mean, like, sure, I'm gonna miss, maybe 10, 15 days in total the whole year, but like when you're looking at it in the long run, it's not that many days. And I also really like the shit like the social aspect of it because I mean, honestly, I don't think that I could sit in my house and do my work all day. I like going
Right.
out and doing stuff and keeping busy.
Yeah, those are good years of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you go? Let's see. So, do you guys have a junior prom?
Yeah, we have junior and senior prom. We go together.
Okay. Did you go last year?
No, so I was a sophomore last year.
Right.
I
I didn't
didn't
know if you
go.
could as a
Yeah.
sophomore or not.
But
I
you
didn't
can.
know.
Somebody has to like bring you though. Like you have to like fill out a form. Like that. Yeah.
You have to have a senior girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're going to go this year. Do you have your date already picked out yet?
No.
You got it like a list of maybe five that may be possible.
I got it down to like 3.
That's not
Oh,
bad.
okay.
A
That's
podium.
good. So I take it you don't have like an actual steady long-term girlfriend right now then.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
I've like I mean I've dated girls, but it's just like I don't know.
Don't know why that cracks me up, but well, I want to mention, so Jake Lewis, I remember this so much about Jake. When Jake went through all of his school too, went to the prom, did all that stuff. It was exactly what you're saying. He wanted that socialization. Being in Owensboro, it seems like it's pretty friendly. It's cool that you got a lot of friends like that and you're continuing, but yet they don't come to your races, damn it. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because they're so far, and it's like just like sleeping arrangements. It's really hard because none of us are 18, so we can't get a hotel or anything like that. So
Yeah.
like if they did want to come down, they'd have to sleep in their car or something. It's just hard for them. But last year at New Jersey, I brought one of my school friends, and he's come to a couple races before, not MotoAmerica, just club races, and he thought it was really cool. Like, I mean, he had a blast just watching the baggers, super bikes. It was just really different for him.
Is that the closest race, New Jersey?
Yeah, that's the
I'm in
closest.
California, so I don't know anything about that half
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
country.
So it's like New Jersey's about 2.5 from my house,
Mm.
and then
So
this year we're going to VIR, which is only like 4.5.
So what's funny about that, and this cracks me up because I know from coming over from Ohio, when you come from Delaware, you have to go way north of the track and then drive south, right? Unless you go across the Sound or whatever they call that. Have you ever done that?
I I think they have a bridge now
There
or
is a
something like
bridge.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we just take the fastest way. I'm not really sure. I don't.
Yeah, there is a bridge, but it's still a little north. You have to go through Delaware. Well, Delaware's north of you guys anyway, but do you live kind of close to Baltimore?
Yeah, like 30-40 minutes.
Okay. Um, are you into are you a Ravens fan or Orioles or any of
I
that?
like the Commanders
Oh
a
my
lot.
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm a Matthew, Oh, I talked to your mom about that. That's
Oh yeah,
right.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Because I'm a Giants fan. Yeah. And I found out she was not pulling any punches. She and I obviously you and probably your dad are literally Commanders fans. It's not just a passing thing. You're kind of into it. So
Yeah, no, I've always liked them my whole life. And
yeah,
this year we finally made it far. So it was really cool.
I
Yeah, you got
know.
a good team.
Yeah, everybody in that division. Well, the Cowboys didn't do very well either. So I was kind of
Yeah.
happy about that. So just back to the lacrosse thing a little bit that you're not going to continue to do, but you obviously must have a talent. You got a talent for it to do it. Do you do any other stick and ball sports?
I grew up my whole life. I've been playing sports before racing. Before racing, I wrestled, played lacrosse. I played football my whole life up until 10th grade. I stopped. Um, I don't know. I did. There's a few more sports. I don't know. I can't really think right now.
Do you get to ride much? Like, do you ride after school, or do you trail ride, or do you motocross, or you just sticking to when you get the
So
chance to
we
ride your real bike?
So we have trails all behind our house, but like a couple months ago, all the land got sold to these other people and they don't want us riding dirt bikes back there anymore. So it's definitely not an everyday thing now, but like I like once or twice a week, I have a friend, he has like a full motocross track at his house. So I'll go over there and ride motocross. And he lives like 5 minutes away. He's one of my school friends too. It's a really nice place to go ride and train and all
That's
that
perfect.
stuff.
So I don't know if we're going to get your older cross coach to watch this or not. So I don't think I'm going to get him pissed off any more than he already is. But so tell me this. Did you made a decision? You obviously like road racing better than, well, lacrosse, or what is it about road racing that does something for you that those sports don't?
Honestly, I would say it's more of like the community or like the traveling. I mean, there's a lot. I can just go on and on. I like so many things more about racing than like stick and ball sports. Because I mean, I know you can travel for like lacrosse and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just like growing up, I always rode dirt bikes. Then I started mini moto. I don't know. I love motorcycles. So it's like always what I wanted to do.
And also, if you lose, you lose because of yourself.
Yep.
You're not losing because of someone else. You didn't make them lose. So that's kind of a cool thing about it too, if you like individual type sports.
Yeah, that's why I liked wrestling too when I did it because it was
Hmm.
kind of one of those things where it's just you.
What do you
Yeah.
not? Were you in the 90 pound?
Oh, I was probably in the 40 pound because I was like kindergarten to fifth grade.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
wow, that's early.
Yep.
That's good. I love that. So you've been this past year, you went to every one of our, well, most of our tracks. Was there, you used to have pit races, your favorite. Is it still your favorite, even though we didn't go there last year? Okay, what's your
Now,
favorite?
now I like Mid Ohio.
Hey, really?
Yeah,
I love, what is it about that track?
the elevation.
Oh, you like the up and
Before
down.
I
Okay.
really liked Pittsburgh's elevation, and then when I rode Mid Ohio, and like I think it's turn like 6 maybe or 7, the left hander where you crest the hill. I love that
Yes,
so much. So
that's
fun.
cool. Yeah. No, there's a lot of cool aspects. That keyhole's cool. They've reconfigured that back, the end of that back straight where it almost looks like a ski slope going off there into the
Yeah.
runoff. That's into the S's. That's going to be a little different this year. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But that thing was famous for sending people flying. Like Scott Russell at one point went way out in there and almost wasn't seen again. But they've made that better. But that track is, it's got a lot of features, and you're right, the elevation is so cool. And the facility is pretty cool too. I mean, it does have a kind of a country club feel to it. So I'm glad to hear that you like it. Plus, it's my home track too. It's why I moved to Ohio. So, you think you're going to maybe move out here at any point, or are you going to stay in Maryland?
I think when I get out of high school, we're moving somewhere south. I think we're like aiming for Tennessee on a lake or something like that. I know that.
Seriously, you're
Yeah,
going to move?
yeah.
Wow. What do your dad and mom do?
My dad's a retired police officer. So he was
Wow.
a police officer for like 30 years. And then now he does like security.
Hmm.
And then my mom, she's an accountant for like an insurance company.
Okay. My gosh, I didn't think your dad was old enough to retire. He must have retired at a pretty young age, I would
I
think.
mean, he's like 54.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
young
That's
still.
pretty
Pretty
young to
young.
retire.
It is. So I'm sure you know Mike Coppolis.
Hmm.
And he doesn't have cop in his name just because he was a cop, but yeah, you know he was a cop too. Mike was a mounted motorcycle policeman. Was your dad as well?
Yep. That's
Oh,
exactly.
he was.
Yeah. He was the sergeant of the motorcycle unit.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Did he ride a Harley or a Kawasaki or what was it?
So they had Harleys and then he got them to switch to BMWs like right before he left because the BMWs
Wow.
are so much nicer than the Harleys.
Hmm.
It was just like one of those things where, and it took years. I remember I'd always hear him on the phone, like fighting and yelling, trying to get those things.
It's those are definitely the choice in Europe. It seems like most of the cop bikes over there are BMWs, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I think that's mostly what we have out here.
right. I just
So,
remember chips. See, it was Kawasaki's back in those days. That was a long time ago, though.
so was with your mom being an accountant, is she the one that got to go in there and try to grind more money out of Terry Vance?
No, it was my dad. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe a cop would work best.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was just, I don't know. My mom doesn't want that pressure on her.
Yeah, that's
I
tough.
Yeah.
remember I remember when we were like talking to different teams, my dad was all stressed all day, like just thinking like because it was like at one point we were going somewhere and then all of a sudden I was going to another place, then back to the one place and then back to Vance and Hines. It was a lot.
Do you still are you still connected to Colin Barton at all, or are you still did he have any involvement in working some teams at all, or was it
Yeah,
more your family?
no, yeah, he definitely did because I mean we were talking to M4 at first for a little bit and Colin had set that up like fully. Colin, I'm not sure if Colin set up Vance and Hines or if they reached out, but he helped with all of that because he also knew what to expect because of Dom Doyle helping him out, and then as Dom moved up into like twins and stuff like that on bigger teams, he kind of knew what to expect like versus my parents.
Right.
Yeah. And I know you know this, so it's just funny that Dominic Doyle is he's like an indentured servant. He works for Colin in New York City, and he
Yep.
has to go eat lunch out of the back of those. Hey, they call him a roach coach. I'm just going to say what they're called. Has Colin ever tried to hire you to go in and work in the city or anything?
Not yet, at least.
Well, good. You're still in school, so
Yeah.
I guess he appreciates an
That's
education.
another reason to stay in school.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. You got anything else, Sean, or can we
What
let the kid go?
One other thing I want to ask, and it's more about like, okay, so you're a junior, you got another year. Um, I'm going to guess that you do pretty well in school. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm typically an A and B student,
Good.
but
I love it.
I actually this year I really struggled in math because I was in honors pre-calc, which is like harder than the
Oh my
AP
God.
classes for some reason. And I ended up failing it, which sucks. So I got moved into the other pre-calc class, and now it's fine. I think we have a quiz this Friday, and I know everything on it.
That's
Are,
farther than I made it in math, and
me too.
I graduated from university.
Are you, Matthew, are you more of a math kid than a language arts kid?
No, I hate math with a passion. I really hate
Oh,
math. Yeah,
wow.
I like history.
Yeah,
Oh,
history
that's
school.
good. I'll tell you, when history, so I didn't like history when I was in school, but I love history now. And I don't know, I wish I would have appreciated it more then. It's cool that you have the passion for it now because it is really cool. I mean, there's so much about it and to understand this world. But you got 2 years. I assume you're going to go to college.
We'll see. It really just all depends, how racing's going, just stuff like that. I was also another option for me is I was really thinking about trade school too.
Hmm.
And what kind
Want
of
to do
trade?
I want to do HVAC.
Awesome. That's a
So
good field to be involved in. Climate
Very good.
control is important. And with this global warming, if you believe that it's true, and I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I do know we need air conditioning and heating pretty bad. So,
yeah.
wow, based on what? Do you have any influence that where does that come from?
Honestly, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It was like, well, at first I wanted to be a plumber because I knew a bunch of people that were plumbers. And then I was like, nah, I don't want to be a plumber anymore. And then it was an electrician because I knew a lot of electricians too. And then I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. And then all of a sudden, I don't know any people that do HVAC. I just want to do it really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
he did tell me that he would like to be world superbike champion, so maybe we'll go that way.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
yeah, and I'll tell you, the thing is, I mean, learning a trade, I mean, Paul and I both went to college, but we both have friends that are involved in trade businesses that have their own businesses now or whatever and are doing really well. So, I mean, there's a lot of options out there, especially in this day and age. So that's cool to hear you say that. So you mentioned World Superbike. Do you follow like have you've I'm pretty sure you met Garrett Gerloff back when I worked with him on the Yamaha team at New Jersey, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you follow his career since it's World Superbike?
Yeah. I follow all those guys. And then I follow MotoGP, Moto3, Moto2, pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
He's
And I
addicted.
think and I think I read you like Mark Marquez. Is he still your guy?
Yep. Still my
Okay.
guy.
That's good. Well, you're our guy too. We're excited to have you. We both think a lot about of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in Twins Cup this year with let me get it right, the RevZilla Motul Vance and Hines Harley Davidson team. Did I get it right?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
He hasn't even gone over it with me yet. So
Okay.
Just
yeah.
look down at your bike, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's right.
So, are you going? You guys aren't going to the Phoenix test, are you?
No, I don't believe.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, Matthew, one more thing. You gonna be 95?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any significance of that number?
I mean, honestly, my number was 9, but you can't do single digits unless I think is it just super bikes? I
Yeah.
think you can do super or single digit numbers. And it was 9 like my whole life, like playing football and all that stuff. And then it was kind of like we were looking at like the available number options, and it was like I think it was 19 or 95, and I was like, Lightning McQueen, screw it. So then chose 95, and I don't know. I've always liked the number 95 too.
Cool.
Okay. Paul, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Okay, so watch me on this. There's another rider from Maryland who had the number 9, well known. Do you know who I'm talking about? He raced
No,
for Kawasaki.
he has no idea.
I don't think so.
I'm right about the number, right, Paul? He was number 9.
Yeah, if you're right about the guy I'm thinking about.
Yeah, Gary Nixon.
Yeah. He
Gary
was from
Nixon.
Cockeysville.
Yeah, exactly, which is perfect for that guy.
I don't even
Yeah.
know where that is.
Oh,
Yeah.
talk to your dad. Your dad probably knows about him. I mean,
Or
he's a
he may
legend.
not.
Yeah,
That goes back a ways.
It's really a ways, but he's like a Kenny Roberts era legend. I mean, really a guy. And it was always interesting that he was from Maryland. That was really cool about him. So yeah, but he was number 9 on a green Kawasaki. So
Dang.
yeah, I mean, it's changed now that you're on a Suzuki, but you were on a Kawasaki, so it makes sense. Good
Yep.
deal. All right, 95. I'm done.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. And it was nice chatting with you. And we'll see you when we see you, but it'll be soon enough.
Yep. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matthew.